And welcome to The Smoke Break. I'm your host, your old pal Zane, here with Zoe Schwartz.
I'm Zoe Schwartz.
Jasmine Nothing.
Hello.
And Rochelle Cote.
Hello.
Rochelle Cote is a comedian and podcast host of The Recyclables, and I am so glad to have you here.
Thanks for being here.
It's a lovely room. Holy guacamole.
Yeah, thank you.
I love it.
I'm going to do a quick little disclaimer, though, before we get into it.
Oh, no.
This podcast is from our disclaimer. This podcast is... No, I'm kidding. Okay. This podcast is for entertainment purposes only. We do work in the field of mental health, but we don't claim to be professionals in this space. Our intention is to hold conversations around lived experience. And as a result, we may not always agree with everything our guests say, but we do intend to hold space for open conversations and learning from one another.
They agree with everything I say, though.
Welcome to the podcast.
We've been spoken for.
Don't say anything we don't agree with, or you can't be here. That's what that meant. I don't know if that was clear, but that's what that meant.
Oh my goodness. Disclaimers for our disclaimers. I'm so glad to have you here.
Yeah, we love you.
Thank you.
Accessing mental health help. We talked about being, some of us work in the field of mental health. I'm sure we've seen that this is hard to access for folks.
Well, and I worked in it for a hot second, too, and it was
Really?
terrifying to see what access looked like for folks. It was a nonprofit, and I think what's scary about nonprofits is I do feel like there's some people there with not good intentions.
Yeah.
And oh, well, this is good. I'm not going to be held as accountable because I don't get paid as much. Or this is going to cleanse my image of other things I'm not doing well about. And I just saw a lot of people not getting their needs met and a lot of providers not being there for their clients. And it was pretty overwhelming and made it actually really scary for me to think about seeking out mental health services because I saw the back end. I saw the people scheduling appointments right next to me decide they wouldn't tell someone an appointment time was open because the person on the phone was annoying them.
So I mean, I imagine being on the other side of that would be
I can't even fathom their side of it. And me watching it, I'm just like, this is heartbreaking because I assumed we were all in this to help people. And then I learned, oh shit, not everybody has that goal in mind.
That is wow.
Yeah.
Is that the new topic? Because oh my God.
But I mean, that is a big part of accessing mental health care is not only do you have to deal with just the institution itself, but you're going to have to deal with the people inside of
just
it.
Like humans that are still humans.
We have plenty of people that choose all sorts of different types of jobs, not because they're the best fit for it, but because it's what they can get away with doing.
Yeah, absolutely. I have people at my place right now that are don't want to work, and if they were at any other job, they would find a way to not work. But now they're not working at this job, which means that people aren't getting their needs met.
Yeah.
So it's
but the lack of oversight means they can get away with it.
Lack of oversight. Well, and how much of that lack of oversight is because if they notice what you're doing, then someone's going to notice that they didn't do the things they were supposed to do. I know that one of my coworkers overheard a peer support advocate bragging about the ways they avoided their clients. And I was just like, I'm going to vomit. I'm just going to vomit.
Yeah.
And I mean, we can talk about specifically rural areas or states that don't have the same level of social services. So maybe if you were in somewhere like Portland, you could access those things. But if you're in tiny ass Montana where it's 300 people in your town, how the hell are you going to get to someone for therapy, let alone someone for medication management, substance use support?
I lived in a small town, so it was there was only one place to access mental health support. So it's if you didn't vibe with that therapist, you don't vibe with therapists. So now you're just okay, I guess I'll talk to my friends about it. And that I feel access is it's hard to access in the city because the thing that I feel I ran into is the problem is with accessing mental health is mental health supports is that you don't know when you're going to need them. And when you need them, they're 6 months out.
And you're also the least capable of jumping through all the hoops.
When
you are in the actual need.
Absolutely.
Well, you know what's slick? Me and my partner both went to ADHD Northwest. It's they've got a couple locations here in town, and they serve the broader area as well. But it seems like their providers are really informed on the struggles of having ADHD, meaning that some of these clients are going to forget their appointments. Yes. So I think from what I was seeing, they had a lot more lax policy because my partner has forgotten multiple appointments. And I'm like, they're going to kick you out.
Yeah.
And I don't think he's gotten anything for that. And I'm really glad because if your disorder straight up means you fuck up at administrative shit all the time,
Yes.
like you shouldn't be punished for that.
Well, and that's something that like Jasmine would point out to me often is just that like the things that we're asking folks to do are also the things that are the most difficult for them to do while they're feeling like this.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's just like well, they need to support mental health and stuff. It's just like, do you know how hard it is to go to an appointment when you don't feel real? You know what I mean? Like, do you know how hard it is to like this person can't even track day to day what's happening, let alone that they had a conversation yesterday, you know, or that they owe.
But now you're going to have them come sit in a, like, even just like somebody will walk into a clinic lobby and then, like the lobbies tend to be like really clinical looking and white and the lights are too bright. And there's a bunch of other people also having a really hard time sitting there that you probably don't want to interact with. And then you have to tell your story at the front desk to somebody. And even if you don't have to, you feel like you have to. And then you have to fill out paperwork, which nobody has ever wanted to do that.
Yeah,
and you have to like remember all this information and ask like really invasive questions. And then you have to wait in a lobby for X amount of time. And that's just to like even start accessing or even get on a wait list for something.
Yeah, to find
so like
out
the number of barriers before you even touch actually feeling better is enough to make people be like, yeah, you know what? Fuck it. Never mind.
Well, actually, here's a question I have for you. Sorry. So there was substance use support at this place that I worked as well. And one of their policies is that you don't get appointment reminders if you're in the substance use support because you need to be taking ownership of that. I would
this
call
in Montana?
No, this is here in Portland. I will not tell you what it is on here.
Yeah,
We can
that's
talk
fair.
afterwards so that you can know to
that's
not
just-
suggest it as a resource. But like that was a policy.
Because
So
people
like,
who are high are famously good at schedules.
exactly. So
Yeah.
like, you know, I'm calling everybody else for appointments, but it was strict no. And if they came up to me to ask their schedule, I could do it. But if they did it more than once, I had to just say, no, you've been emailed this. You have this resource. And like, I understand it to a point.
Sure, to
But
a point.
good Lord, are we fucking Puritans for Christ's sake?
Well, and it's setting barriers for people who are already having trouble accessing or may not even want to access and finally get to a place where they're like, fine, fuck it. I guess I'll get help, you know, like I guess I'll fix my brain. And then like there's a million fucking things. And then they're just like, fuck it, never mind. Why did I even try?
Yes,
Like,
exactly.
It takes something that's already scary and then makes it difficult.
Yeah.
So I don't know what kind of work you do. My apologies.
Oh, you're fine. I am a therapist.
Oh my God.
Yeah, but not here.
Mics are rough
But
for
not
a
here.
therapist, I bet.
To be clear.
Yeah. But like the thing I was going to say, the thing that was really upsetting for me that I realized when I went to school to be a therapist and then I got to be an intern is like you just get to practice on people who don't have money to pay for therapy. It's literally what you get to do. Like I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. I mean, you know, I'm
you're
there
learning.
and my intentions are good, but like I don't, you know, like I know so much more now that I did, and I still feel like I still have so much more to learn. And I think that's kind of scary is realizing that like you work for free. So then, you know, like, and then you get to work for people that can't afford, you know, like it's just really, really, really messed
It's like
up.
you're using the poorest test subjects. And
That's literally what it felt like to me.
Very unsettling.
I was like,
More like the most complicated folks too.
Yeah, exactly. No, that's what I mean. And I'm like, and I was like, I'm not like these kids have these people that you're bringing to me have like so many layers of stuff going on, and I'm like literally just learning about everything and like trying to put it all together and figure out how to document and like it's so many things.
Potentially turning them off of mental health care because you don't know what you're doing yet.
Totally.
Yeah,
No fault of yours.
Yeah, totally. No, it's
It's a
just
shitty system.
It's like a bad haircut.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And
It's
I
just
think
like,
a
just
lot-
because I went to the school to get this done doesn't mean
I went to William Temple House for a couple of sessions, and the gal was really sweet, but like she just kind of sat there and was like, oh, wow. And
That
then
is also where I went and also my experience.
and I felt really
went
bad
once.
because like it wasn't her fault. Like obviously she was really new. And then when I first started at Northwest ADHD, I had a she was my med management person, but she was also going to be my therapist. But unfortunately, anytime I said something that was a little bit bummer, she'd be like, "Oh goodness," or "Oh gosh," and I'm like, "This is not good.
Yeah,
This is
not
not
for
real."
you.
say
And I mean,
that.
really nice gal, but
Yeah.
not helping at all.
Yeah, you can't. Yeah, the amount of you can't react to things that you hear that like I know because like somebody will tell me just awful, like just they had the worst day, and I have to be like, okay, and like, but
Damn, that sounds like a lot.
yeah, that sounds like a lot.
That
sounds,
fucking blows. I mean,
Yeah.
you might not be able to use
No,
that
I
verbiage,
do.
but
No,
I
they
say
totally
that.
can.
Yeah.
Good.
But I mean, I feel like that's a more genuine response. Something that you were talking about was just like the system, and like this idea was brought to me recently that the idea of like peers are almost being eaten up by the system as well
Mhm.
because like the system's making money off of their lived experience, but like they're still living that experience. You know what I mean?
Because they have to interact with other people going through it all day. So re-traumatizing it all over again.
Yeah. And so it's just like, it's not a perfect system. And I think
it can be healing, but
it can be healing. And I think that is an important part of it, is that it can be healing. But I think that the people who have been hurt or traumatized by the system need to have the enough perspective to know that like the hurtful and traumatizing parts were parts.
Yes.
And that like it's not every therapist is going to be like, oh, okay, or ooh, yeah, it sucks, I'm sorry, or
Yeah.
Like
another horrible experience I had. So I got diagnosed with ADHD in college, and then I got prescribed Adderall, instant release, and they told me take as needed. A disorder where you can't really read your body, you're super overwhelmed. I'm just gonna, and so I overdid it trying to write a paper, woke up in the morning, felt like I had bugs crawling under my kneecaps. I knew I didn't, but it felt like it. And like it took me years to feel confident to seek out mental health care, let alone medication after that, because I was like, I don't want that to happen ever again.
Yeah. You get burned. I had, so when I'd gotten busted for meth, back in 2012, I think 2011, I'd gotten busted for meth, and I had told my therapist, I was just like, hey, I just got offered this opportunity to go to China and teach English. I think it's going to be a really cool opportunity. And she goes, I think we need to dream a little bit bigger or a little bit smaller. And I was just like, what?
Which was just gutting.
Which was gutting, right? Because I'm just like, I just got busted with the worst thing. I got offered an opportunity to literally change my life, and she told me to fucking dream smaller. And I was just like, oh, wow. And I did.
And I mean, it's pretty hard to get drugs in China, so it's kind of a good place to go.
Or at least that's my impression. I don't know a ton about China, but I know their rules are way stricter than ours.
Yes,
probably
yeah. You can find them, but at what cost?
I'm not a doctor. Let's be clear.
Neither are we. But no, I think that, I think that.
But telling you to dream smaller, though?
Dream smaller, that was the problem
I
with
just
like.
can't even imagine any scenario in which that would be the thing you would say to someone.
Yeah, it like, as a therapist is wrong.
Yeah. Unless it's a really shitty open mic comic who's like, you know what, I'm going to do my own special this year. It's like, maybe don't.
Maybe dream smaller.
How about a 5-minute
slow down a
record
little.
and put on YouTube?
That's what I can see being like, hey, like that's granted, like what are like, let's make sure you have the steps in
plan?
order
Is it
to get
realistic?
there.
Is it real?
It wasn't
Is it not a scam?
Well, and that's the idea, is that like, I feel like more people are going towards like the patient focused and being like, what does the client focus? What does the client want? What are the client's goals? Not like, what are my goals for the client? Because I'm learning CADC, Certified Alcohol and Drug Counselor 1. And I'm doing that right now. And like all the things that I'm like sitting there reading about are just like, we can't be a barrier to these folks. We can't be an additional barrier to these folks.
Yeah, I go out of my way to try to be like that. Like anytime I like give anybody like do you want a homework assignment? Like, do you like that?
Oh my gosh, thank you so much for doing
If you
that.
don't do it, you're not in trouble. We'll just ask, why didn't it work? Let's try something else. Like I always tell people that, I'm like, please don't let therapy be like another thing that you're failing at. Like that's so easy to do when you're struggling. So if I give you a suggestion and it doesn't work, I just want to find out like why it didn't work and how we can like adjust it. I don't care that you didn't do it. Like I just want to figure out what works,
I was so terrified too, because like my experience had been before recently was I would go in, just cry for an hour about the things that were wrong, and then have a few more sessions and not go anywhere. So like I literally opened a Google Doc and started writing a healthcare resume, like a mental health resume to like, these are the things that are wrong with me. These are the things I've tried. This is what I'm struggling with right now. Cause I was like, I don't want to say all this out loud and rip open all of this shit and then find out, oh, well, this isn't going to work. Let's go do something else or just give up for another couple of years.
That makes me think about how like when I do, because I work with people that have like state insurance, you have to do this like really intense documentation assessment process. And it's like, hi, I know you haven't even met me or seen my face, but can you tell me about every traumatic thing that's ever happened to you?
That's ever happened?
Yeah. And like some people are great and they've done it before and they can. And then other people, it's like I find out so much about them after I've already had to diagnose them. And I'm like, this is such bullshit. Like,
having to diagnose is that first thing.
Yeah, like you don't know people well enough in 2 hours, you know? Like,
I know there's a lot of controversy around diagnosis and like whether or not it, like if the diagnosis is important or treating the client, because like I feel like we've gotten to this point where we need to label everyone.
No, I wouldn't do it
those
if I didn't have
labels
to.
always help.
No, I just have to do it for
know?
insurance is why I have to do it. I tell people that a lot. I'm like, I just care about how this is affecting your life and like how I can help you with that. I don't care about like, I mean, a label can be really helpful for some people, like with ADHD, I think. And definitely like if it was something like if you're struggling with like bipolar or, you know, those kind of things, like it does help to understand what's happening.
Recognizing you have addiction.
Yeah. It helps a lot. But also sometimes it's just pathologizing to like give everything a name. It's like you're just struggling. You're just having a hard time. You're having these symptoms.
And there's certain diagnoses that people don't want to treat you for. Like I have friends personally who have BPD and they're like, I was diagnosed, but it was not put on my record because they did not want it to make it harder for me to get help.
Yeah, I had the same thing with schizoaffective. They, like my doctor wouldn't give me the diagnosis. Instead, I had to go to a psychiatrist because she's just like, what that's going to do to you on paper. I was just like, that's insane.
No, that's a red flag in so many parts of like accessing other resources, doing other jobs, you know, and it sucks. Like it's just so frustrating that these labels can be freeing, but they can also be a fucking shackle.
Absolutely. As we're rounding out the first topic, do people have any examples of times where they tried to access mental health care and it really worked?
Oh, I mean, Northwest ADHD has been great, and being in the DBT group I'm in has been extremely helpful. And I will say that when I was in college, the bereavement group I was in after my sister passed was so great. Because, like, for me, I needed to know that the way I was feeling about my sister dying wasn't wrong. And I needed a place where no one had skin in the game.
Groups are good for that.
You know?
Groups are good for that.
And to hear everybody else's experiences. And even if what happened to them was totally different, they may say something about it that unlocks something in you or like puts something to rest in you that you needed to like, be like, you know what? That's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about you guys?
I had like a therapist like save my life basically, so I feel very strongly about it. But I also had like privilege to be able to access that therapy, so that's a different conversation. But so I guess that's not exactly what you asked. But
I just looking for positive examples.
I definitely that works, and that's like why I want
positive example. I would say this doctor that I have, I think just like takes me seriously when I talk to them about like anything mental health stuff. So like that has been, and they're Black. So like
nice.
So it's like double they take you serious. It's not just like, oh, okay, well, I'm sure it's one of so nice. So get a provider that hears you.
My therapist told me I was a reliable narrator of my own life, and that felt really good because I really have never felt that way. So that was super sick. I mean, I don't know if I believe her yet, but it was nice of her to say it.
I'm sure she's right. They are right.
All right. Well, we'll take a real quick break, and we will be right back with the smoke break. And welcome back to the Smoke Break. I'm your host, Joel Palzane, here with Zoe Schwartz.
I'm Zoe Schwartz.
Jasmine Nothing.
Hello.
And Rochelle Cote.
I'm also here.
We're all here. We're all here, and we're all here for a group session, group DBT session, in fact.
And it's not dick and balls torture, even though everybody likes to make that joke when I bring it up.
Is that what everybody has been saying?
I shit you not. When I say CBT or DBT, so many people are like, is that? And I'm like, it's not that.
I think that speaks to who you hang out with.
Listen, I hang out with people who behave like 12-year-old boys because that's also me.
Me too, but I like that. I never knew that. But now
I
I'm never
spent several years working at a
it.
porn store, and that'll do it.
That'll do it.
It's not dick and ball torture, okay? Yeah. This whole time I thought we were going to do dick and ball torture. I was so excited.
Damn it.
It's one of my favorite topics.
It's a different type
No,
of
it actually stands for dialectical behavioral therapy is what it stands for.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
And what are the,
So it's emotional regulation, mindfulness, distress tolerance, and interpersonal effectiveness.
There you go. Yeah.
We're in interpersonal effectiveness right now. I'm in a truncated program. Normally it's supposed to be a year, but it's only 6 months.
Okay.
I do an individual session, and then we also do a group session. And I get a lot out of both of those, which is what's honestly really nice about the group session is we do a meditation at the beginning.
Cool.
And I'm glad that some people can willingly do meditation. To me, I'm like, no, thank you. Because I can't be alone with my own thoughts. Now, if I'm alone with my own thoughts with a group of people, at least maybe I'll try to stay on task.
The whole point is you're not supposed to listen. I'm just kidding.
I fucking hate the leaves on a stream
Oh
meditation.
my God, I was just going to say
that meditation.
You're gonna tell Rochelle that she's doing it wrong?
It takes too much effort.
Well,
For me, I'm like,
to me, like
put it on the leaf.
Yes, you're supposed to recognize a thought because you're not supposed to be thinking, and then you're supposed to put it in a leaf and send it away. But unfortunately, there's so many thoughts. There's how many leaves do I need?
Yeah.
And then when I was in college, there was a version of that where they're like, I want you to take all the things you're stressed about, put it in a box, we'll put it on the river, and it'll float away. I'm like, hey, by the way, those things I'm worrying about, I'm gonna need later. So could I like visually like put that in a closet and then just shut the door? Because it thrown in the stream, that's adding way more stress.
It's also like
to my
littering.
head.
Throw, hey, all the things that you have to handle, get rid of them. You're all, oh, where are they?
Exactly. And I mean,
I feel like I was worried about those for a reason.
Yeah.
I'm an excruciatingly forgetful person, so it's like don't give me a metaphor that can allow me to forget things.
That's so funny.
But
But it's
like
the skills-based therapy.
yes, it's skills based, and it's like you got a big old workbook, and it's got like worksheets you can fill out and a lot of things. And one of the things I
Does
really
the workbook? Do you feel like that's helpful? Like having
yes,
a workbook. For you?
actually, yeah. I mean, fuck homework. I've always been bad at that,
Yeah.
but it's really nice because you can flip to a page and look at something. And there's one of the skills I especially love is called give a dime. I don't know.
I don't know if I've heard that one.
So it's a 1 through 10 scale of how hard to say no versus how hard to or ask for something. So like if you don't really need the thing, then it's a really light ask. Or if it's not that big of a deal for someone to ask you to do it, it's not that bad.
Okay.
But then it goes down to like, no, fuck you. I don't want to do this. Or like, no, give me this shit. I need it. And what's nice is that one of the things that I struggle with, and I didn't realize this until therapy, is black and white thinking. I think all of us in the room have heard about black and white thinking.
Yeah, all or nothing thinking.
And I didn't really understand how pervasive it was in my thoughts because I kind of felt like, well, if someone asked me to do something and I said yes, then I really can't say no to anyone else because I said yes to that person, and that's unfair. But now I'm starting to realize like, well, no, I can take into account the relationship I have with this person, what giving them that thing will do to me, you know? So it's like it creates a gray that's still, you can still use your black and white thinking to look at the scale and apply it.
And find like a gradient.
Yeah,
in
nuance.
between.
It's adding nuance in like a mathematical way.
Yeah.
And that one's been really nice. And we're distress tolerance right now, which that's one I think I really need because I've felt like my entire life, like as soon as something knocks me for a loop, it's like the Jenga tower fell over and I got to rebuild it. And I'm halfway through and it gets knocked over again.
Yeah.
That's how I feel like just building a Jenga tower is just somebody's just walking up and just knocking
it over all the time.
Well, you know what I thought about when you were talking about that though? Like I think a big part of it is like helping you find a balanced perspective, right? Like and the whole idea of the wise mind is like another thing of the, you know, using logic and emotion. Equally.
Exactly.
But the thing you just described too is like like it helps like that process that you were talking about of like grading, like how much does this answer matter based on the context? Like it's basically teaching you how to do that.
Yes,
right?
absolutely.
It's teaching you how to use your logic and your emotion to make the most like logical decision so you can move forward and feel like you made a decision that was like,
I think I get
yes.
it. Yeah.
Well,
so
and
now I
like,
can see what you mean by like a mathematical.
Not making
you're making an equation.
Yeah, it's like a gradient. It's like a gradient. So you can be like, okay, well, I'm kind of in the middle here. So like, I do really want to ask for this thing from this person, but I'm not going to like lose it if I don't get this thing. But I do want to impress upon him. I do want this thing, you know.
Yeah.
One of the other things I like too is there's a lot of like tools for when you are in kind of crisis mode or having a meltdown. And one of the things I really like is tips.
I was just going to say the tip one.
Tips is fucking wild. So if you put like something cold on like the top of your face, like an ice pack, and you hold your breath, it convinces your brain that you are underwater, potentially drowning. So your blood pressure drops and you start thinking more clearly. And I'm just like, what the fuck? This is the weirdest thing I've ever learned in my life.
So that we did, we went to a suicide prevention conference.
We did.
And this lady went up and she did that. But she like held her face in water.
In a bowl of ice water.
Of cold ice water
Yeah.
while everybody counted. And I was just like, oh man, this is...
Yeah.
If we don't count fast enough, this could be another one.
Right.
Like, this could be bad.
Oh my God. Well, and one thing that's neat about it is it doesn't have to be that extreme either. Like
you can put your wrists under cold
Yes.
water.
Cold. Yeah, I've heard the wrists.
Well, and
under
one
cold
thing
water.
for me is like I get stressed every time I go to a fucking open mic, regardless, because I am it's getting better, but I'm thinking about every social interaction I may or may not have, who I may end up seeing. You know, and I have a lot of trauma around doing comedy. I think everybody in this room does too.
Yeah.
And one thing I do is like, I will drive with the windows open, loud music, cold air on my face. That helps me at least go a little bit down. And usually it's a nice sensation as well.
Put you more in your body.
So it's like, and like literally just finding ways to get you. Wise mind feels weird. I understand, but it sounds so weird. But like get you into a place where you're not being pulled too hard logically or too hard emotionally.
Yeah.
And
Wise mind does sound very hippie-ish.
It does sound very hippie-ish. Yeah, wise mind sounds very hippie-ish. And also just sounds like something I'm never going to be able to do.
It's like a really expensive candle.
Yeah.
I just think of it as balanced. I think if you think about it like a balanced thought process, like making a balanced choice, considering considering all the important things before you make a choice. I don't know. That's kind of how I try to think about it.
Oh, absolutely. And like the thing I love about the group is that all of the people I'm in group with, we are all very different people. We all live very different lives. But so many of our struggles sound not identical, but definitely dovetailed. Yeah. And I really like knowing that it's like, it's not that it's necessarily normal, but I'm not the only one feeling this way. And I'm not alone. And that's the biggest fucking struggle with mental health in general is like so much of it makes you feel so alone.
Yeah, it's the isolation of it. It's the like, I'm alone. I'm alone. I'm the only one who feels like this. I'm the only one who's ever felt like this. It's, like you start going...
It's probably not worth talking to anybody about anyway.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And I don't want to make anyone else's life harder. Yep. I don't want to burden anyone with the way I'm feeling right now.
Well, and it's just a negative feedback loop until you get into like a groups. And I like that you said that like group is helping because it does. I feel like it gives so much of our suffering context, like groups do, because like I lead some groups for my job. And like oftentimes when I'm doing that, I'm like, trying to like talk to everybody and give part of myself while also trying to pull out of the group. And but the thing is that it's just like there's things that I find myself admitting to a group that maybe I might not admit to just one person, and there's things that vice versa, where it's like there's certain things that like, or even the perspectives you get, where it's just like the things where you're just like, oh man, I swear I've thought through this a million times, I've got it, and then somebody's just like, yo, and you're like.
And I mean, I really struggle with the emotional dick measuring contest of like, oh, well, because I grew up with a mom who like anytime I was upset about something, she'd want to tell me how everyone has it worse than me. And so even in group, sometimes I still struggle with that. Because I mean, there's people in group that like struggle with suicidal ideations. And like, I'm really lucky that I've never felt actively. It's more of a passive thing. Like I could fall asleep in the bathtub or something.
Yeah.
But like, so it's nice to know that none of those people are diminishing my struggle, even if what I feel like they're going through is harder. Yeah. And the thing I'm really struggling with is that because of the way my mom framed things, I view that as guilt, like that idea that other people are doing worse. But I'm trying to turn that into gratitude.
Well, and I like how you are also annoyed by all of the terms.
It's just like, it sucks.
That's just really
That's how I'm a therapist. I'm all, because, and I mock everything that I say because I'm like, I know this is annoying, but
Zoe,
it's true.
when you said why, I was going to say something about this, but I was like, don't say anything. But when you said why, you're like, wise mind. And I'm just like, and it's like, I can tell that you believe in the idea and not the words.
Yeah. Well, I think just because it's
therapy speak can be rough.
It's worth acknowledging that some of this feels annoying and stupid, but it's worth trying because it's actually a lot of it is really helpful. Some of it will be annoying and stupid and not helpful to you, but like try some of it because it's going to be less annoying and stupid than it sounded initially. But yes, I want to acknowledge that like it feels very awkward to like, I'm going to do this skill when I'm upset. Like it feels weird as hell at first. And it does take time before you like might actually be able to put it into place. But something that I think is really cool about DBT, I don't know if you know, but the woman who created it has
Marsha Linehan.
Yeah, has borderline personality disorder. And so that's pretty unique about it.
And that's what it was more or less developed for. But it seems it's really helpful for PTSD, CPTSD, and ADHD. Funniest thing is all four of
eating
those
disorders too.
Hella overlap. When you look at symptoms, all of those have hella overlap.
The other thing I like about it is that it's a combination of a bunch of other modalities brought together. That's cool. And I think that's really the only, like people are like, oh, I'm this kind of a therapist. It's like nobody, like you can't just function from one theory. I only function from attachment theory. It's like that's the only, it's like no, I do like attachment. I do this, I do that. So I think I like DBT because it combines CBT and mindfulness, which I think anyway. So yeah, I think that.
I learned there's a thing called psychodrama therapy.
Ooh, is that where you act stuff
It's like
out?
role play, and I was like, I get it, but this is weird. Like I read
I've
it out.
heard of narrative therapy. I've heard of narrative
Like where
therapy.
you tell stories.
Yeah, like people do, like kids will do plays, and you get to like rewrite your trauma story and like
actually
take care of yourself or fight.
Do y'all remember Sebastian Kearney, who was in town doing comedy, blonde, curly hair, very nice young person. They're non-binary. Their like thesis for their like either master's program or whatever was using improv to deal with trauma.
Cool.
And I think that improv and tabletop RPGs, stuff like that, can be such a great space for that kind of stuff.
My cousin who came out recently as trans, like gave me the perspective of like being able to play out being a girl, because every time we would play a video game, like she was always a girl, and I never noticed.
You never connected.
Never made the connection. I was like, oh, she must like, okay, cool, whatever. I was like, that's not the character that I want. I want big muscly blah, blah, blah. Fucking idiot. And but it's cool that there are so many different ways to like.
Well, think about what we've done before colonization and all of that, like what we would do as collective people of like storytelling, being around a fire, having ceremonies, all of that weren't dogmatic like Catholicism or whatever, but were all intended to bring people together, bring out things that needed to be brought out, and all of that. But back to the therapy speak, Jonah Hill ruined it for all of us. That's really what
movie. Are you
happened.
talking about that movie?
No, the
actual
text
thing
with his girlfriend and shit.
Oh, I forgot.
Him making
We had
his
an episode about
boundaries.
that.
I forgot about that.
So like shit like that, like white men have ruined a lot of. I mean, they ruined it from.
You
the
could just leave the
beginning.
sentence there.
Yeah, Freud. We can start with
ruined
Freud,
it.
or even before that. But like when it gets popularized in conversations like that, it can ruin a lot of those terms
when it
because
gets
people
weaponized.
people misuse them, people weaponize it. But yeah, I've been really grateful for it. I'm worried that when I get out of it, it's going to be hard to keep the skills up, but that's going to be up to me to try to figure out. And I do want to figure out a long-term therapist after that, at least for a while, because like a lot of this was because my dad passed and my cat died. Brag. But like it had been a long time coming. I had needed to do this for a long time. And it sucks that it's so hard to recognize that you need that help, especially in a society where everyone's like, oh, you're not that bad. You're fine. You're still doing all the things you need. And it's like, yeah, well.
Do you know how hard it is to do that?
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, also, I'm only eating like one meal a day because I don't want to eat. I am not really taking care of myself. I like am living in a place that I don't feel good. And I would like to do that. And like, for me, like, it's so hard. It's hard for me to do it just for me. For me, it's because I just want to be better for the people around me. Like I want to be better friends with the people I care about. And I want to be safe because I've learned that the way I've looked at the world has not made me safe for people. Even if it's not like dangerous, but it's like I am not a safe person if I'm people pleasing and getting mad that you're not putting it back on me. And that's not that other person's fault because they didn't force me to do those things. But now I'm like, well, I did those things for you. Why aren't you anticipating my needs I didn't fucking tell you about?
Yeah. Well, and you were able to like redefine safety as like what, and you redefine your goals. So because
like I saw something where they're like, if you're a people pleaser, you're not safe to people. You're not. And until you figure that out, you're not.
That's a good framing because I agree. Yeah, I think that's because it makes you. I know where you're going with that, but yeah, I think safety means a lot of different things to different people. But I like DBT because the emotional regulation thing is such a big
oh my
part
god,
of it.
Yeah.
Because that was actually the first reason I chose it, is that I have not felt in control of my emotions my entire life. Every middle school dance I went to ended with me, or during dance, just sobbing in the bathroom. Like I've always had these problems with big emotions that I don't know what to do with, and I can't even name where they're coming from and why. And so like it's getting better to name them because I'm getting the opportunity to remove the shame from being that way in the first place.
Yeah.
Shame is a huge part of my struggle.
I just thought of an idea. We should have the background of us be an emotions wheel for our new background.
Oh, I need one of those. So a bunch of other people in group
Those
have
are
one,
sick.
but I don't have one. And one of the gals has it in color. And I'm like, what the fuck? Why don't I have this?
I have a rainbow one.
Okay.
I need
pretty
that.
Sweet. It's pretty sweet. All right, we're going to take a real quick break and we will be right back with the smoke break. And welcome back to the Smoke Break. I'm your host, your old pal Zane, here with Zoe Schwartz,
Hello.
Jasmine Nothing,
Hello.
and Rochelle Cote.
I'm just here so I don't get fined. Sorry, my partner says that all the time, so I had to try it out.
Well, part of you not getting fined is you introducing our next topic.
Yeah, so
go ahead.
I thought it would be a good idea for us to talk about mania, and a big part of the reason I wanted to talk about it is that when I was in college, I dated someone who went through mania, and there was some schizo stuff going on as well, like losing track of time. I don't know if you've had this experience with someone where like they are saying grammatically correct sentences, but none, like you can't even
word salad.
Yeah, and you can't even put back what they said.
Yeah.
And so this was getting worse and worse and worse. And we ended up breaking up. But like it was just one of those points where like I felt more untethered to reality being in that situation.
Sure.
And I wanted to talk about today because I've noticed in this spring that I've noticed more comics that we all know, and then newer people who are kind of coming around the scene.
Yeah.
I'm seeing them very blatantly in manic
Yeah,
episodes.
kind of like in like a psychosis-y. Like,
Yes, a gal that I met at the Helium mic, she told me that she had gone to Kickstand for like an improv jam the night before, and they told her not to come back. And that felt really weird to me.
Yeah.
It kind of aligned with my opinions about improv, where I'm like, you guys just don't know how to hang. Like, you guys are way too positive. Like, get a little dark. But to me, the bigger thing was, how do we make creative spaces safe for folks with mania?
Or any other kind of like mental health stuff going on.
Exactly. But like, especially these ones where they're untethered and like
to reality.
you know, and going to be doing some really like impulsive big things.
Yeah.
And like, how do we as a comedy community, when we already horribly handle so many other mental health things, like what are the things we can do? And I know that one of my friends said that one of the things that's really helpful is like, don't deny or agree with what they're saying, but just be there, talk with them, and try to potentially redirect the conversation to things outside of that.
Yeah.
And I just want to know y'all's perspective on how you felt about that.
So yeah, as somebody with schizoaffective and has like had like manic episodes, mania for me is mania for me is like high energy. It's high energy, and it's oftentimes like like I lose track of time and stuff like that. Psychosis is the one where it's like the detachment from reality.
Okay.
That's the one where like if I can be manic and in psychosis, which is like super
Hard
not
mode?
good. Yeah.
Limitless.
A little bit harder. Yeah, it's hard mode basically. Yeah. But yeah, it is basically, it's like the way that I describe it is I either feel like I am the shit or I am shit. I have two modes.
Yeah, you can't. There's no in between. Speaking of black and white thinking.
Yeah, exactly. But it's like, but like you either feel like you're God and you're just like I can do anything, and I'm you know, and or it's like scattered thoughts. It's so hard.
But you also sometimes get like extremely focused when you're manic.
Yeah.
You developed an entire app in like 3.
Oh yeah, I did.
Like 2 weeks or whatever, because it's pretty dope.
Nice. Hey, at least you got something good out of it, cool. And not just some really bad art or something.
Yeah. Just like
You think is good and no one else does.
I mean, you don't like eat or sleep while you're doing it, but like you did pour like every waking moment, which is most of your moments when you're manic.
Yeah.
Into that for a little chunk of time there.
And I think the thing that like I think scares people with like psychosis and like mania and stuff like that is the detachment from reality. It's like if you're not if we're not sharing the same reality, then like how do I know that you're going to react to things the way that you should?
Well, and for me, it's like I don't feel unsafe around those people per se, but I am worried for that person because I've seen so many instances of people who are in that wibbly state of mental clarity being taken advantage of and abused. And I mean, I know we have seen that happen in our spaces. And that's like my biggest fear is like, how do we make this space not only welcoming, but also keeping them from becoming a victim of people with bad intentions?
Yeah.
And it's something that I feel like comedians are like a herd of cats. It's really hard for us to be collective about anything.
Yeah.
And I just really feel, because it's like creative spaces are so important for everyone, and especially when you're struggling with your mental health.
It's hard because it's like, okay, like I am a creative who struggles in that way, and I would love for there to be a space that we're understanding of me struggling in that way. At the same time, I work in a mental health system where like I see people who are struggling in the same way that I am, but in a more difficult sense, and there isn't a place for them either. So it's like, even in the mental health system, like, I mean, there's like, we have like a team that's like specifically for people who are not consensus reality based, is what we call it.
That's I kind of like the way that sounds, to be honest, because we could align that. We could align a lot of politicians and CEOs in there too.
Non-consensus based reality. They're just not a part of ours. But yeah, like it's difficult because it's like seeing folks in even spaces like that. Like even therapists don't want to work with folks that are dealing with that, because it is such a like it's such an outlying case. But I think that informing people and about it earlier is the thing, because it's like I something I heard recently is like the more often you go into psychosis, the harder it is to come out of. Is that
interesting? I don't know that.
That was something.
Sucks.
That would make sense only just because like the whole idea of like piercing the veil, but I don't think that's not really like
feels like that.
Like from a therapist perspective, just from my own like spiritual perspective.
Well, and I mean, I know that I've heard for a lot of people who struggle with psychosis, sometimes you feel a lot better in your psychosis, and the medications you use to not be in psychosis, like especially like the older generations of antipsychotics, the side effects were fucking awful. And so it's like, I can imagine. Like when you're in psychosis, you think you're Jesus. That sounds sick. But then when you're on your medicine, you feel like shit and you're new again.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, you want me to take your human pills? Okay.
No, I've heard people say that like they've never felt as good as they felt when they're manic. And so it's really challenging to accept that like their life is supposed to be spent trying to not get manic when you've experienced that. And it's like, I know it's destructive and I know it can like not be good for me, but also like that's the best I've ever felt. What a weird thing to have to accept, that like the best you've ever felt isn't safe for the world or something. That's intense.
And it's scary when you feel good because you don't know if it's mania.
Unhelpful question. Can you microdose mania?
Well, I was just going to say,
just like edge it.
I don't know this. This is not from any professional perspective, but yeah, I think you can have symptoms of any mental illness without it being like a full-on you know what I mean? Like you can have moments.
You can dabble.
Dip your toe in.
Like hypomania. Now we know that's a real thing. We didn't know before.
And that's where you're like,
no, it's hypomania is just a shorter period of time. It doesn't meet all the criteria for a full manic episode, but it's like a shorter manic episode, I think, for most. Like
I call that.
I have mixed episodes, so like mine aren't like they're not like week-long things, but like I can go in between like. We're doing a bunch of episodes today, and I might be up for one, down for the next, up for one, down for the next. You know what I mean? And it's just like I have to accept that like my moods. I just have to go with I had a recording the other day. That was, and I had to walk out of the recording because my mood was like, I just could not get out of it. And I was like, I'm paying money to be here. I'm excited about doing this. I'm this close to finishing my EP. I have every reason to just push through and do it. And I like literally emotionally and mentally cannot.
That fucking blows.
I hate that.
My low level version is when I'm chasing the chore dragon. Cause like
that makes it sound like it's fun.
Yeah, it's. I mean, it's nice because I'm getting shit done. But
that's what you mean by chasing the chore?
Yeah, like because it's me. Like it's like I have enough energy. Let's do this, and I like blast through trying to clean the kitchen as much as possible. And then I'm so fucking exhausted and worn out that I might be out for a couple of days because I pushed myself so fucking hard. And that's one of my biggest struggles because like it's so hard for me to get into a headspace of actually doing the things I need to do that I will go so hard that I'm like, well, I guess I can't do a thing I need to do for another month or so.
Well, Jasmine's seen me like at the end of like a psychosis, you know, like when I get like really detached from reality and really emotional, like after I come out of it, I'm just like fucking tired. Like it feels like the Incredible Hulk. It literally does, where it's just like I come out of it and I'm like exhausted from like not even being me. I'm just like, why am I tired for like just getting here? It's the weirdest
I mean, like, you know, like crying is exhausting.
Yeah, totally.
I think you're basically doing that.
Yeah,
it just, but it's manifesting differently.
Yeah,
but it's like that same thing of you're fucking going through a thing. Your body is like experienced almost a trauma.
Well, that's even interesting. Like too, now that if you think about the fact that like you know, bipolar, like you know, it's like traditionally like periods of depression, like a depressive episode, and then mania. I mean, not always like back to back or anything.
Yeah.
But like, and I just think like one can maybe like, you know, like having a manic episode could make you have a depressive episode. Really, if you think about how much energy you're expending in that time, it could just be like a physiological response.
Or you're being impulsive, so you're fucking doing shit like spending a bunch of fucking money, and then you're depressed that you
making a lot
I never thought about that in that way.
I make so many.
Like
when
I feel good, I can do anything.
Well, then the depressive episode seems like a natural response to the manic episode, almost. If you think about it like that, in a weird way. I mean, I know
deal the consequences of whatever.
Yeah,
it's like
I never thought about it like that before.
It's like the dopamine dump. Like I've heard about it when it comes to like ecstasy and stuff like that. But it also alcohol. Like I could feel so fucking good because I was drunk that night, and then the next day,
you feel the
I've
worst
got
you've ever felt.
Nothing left.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I hate it.
Feel zapped.
And so it's like, and the older I get, that dip is so
not worth it anymore. Yeah.
I had like 2 beers, and I'm like, that's too much. Yeah, I'm gonna step away.
Yeah. No, me and my friend were like, we're gonna go out last night, and then somebody was like, oh, have fun. I'm like, we're gonna be home by like 10. Like we had like 2 drinks and some pizza and went home. Like
I can stay out late like that, but typically it's I've had a couple of drinks and I'm just sitting there talking with someone. I'm like, no, I don't need. Like it was like, you want a shot? I'm like, I will never drink a shot ever again. But thank you for offering. You can keep all that shit to yourself.
How do you wish that people showed up differently in spaces to make it feel safer?
Yeah, you first, especially.
Yeah, I would say the hardest thing is that like I have a lot of paranoid delusions, so like being able to voice those delusions, because I think like the person that we're talking about was having delusions, and being able to voice those delusions without like people taking offense to it, because that's the hard part, is like to be like, hey, Jasmine, I think that you're trying to poison me, for example. True example. Jasmine, I think you're trying to poison me. If Jasmine says...
You did?
No. If Jasmine says, you think I'm the type of person who would poison you, then I feel bad for bringing it up.
Yeah.
So now I'm going to sit inside my head and be like, people are trying to poison me. People are trying to poison me. You can't just don't tell people about the thoughts. So it's just
don't
like,
challenge it necessarily.
So yeah, it's like it's not don't challenge it in a way that makes them feel bad for the thoughts, but like don't push them into it further. Don't say yes, people are trying to poison you. Don't say nobody's trying to poison you. Say,
I bet it's so scary to feel like you can't trust people in your life.
Yeah.
Hey, let's check
you're
out
normally
this thing.
close to.
Let's talk about this
Yeah,
thing.
I
promise you I'm not trying to poison you, and I'm really sorry that you're having those kind of thoughts. That must be really scary, or something like that. Like reassure them that's not happening, but also like that you don't judge them for having the thought, or
and then being able to come back to it the next day when that's no longer the thought you're having.
I will say though, I do think it is important to acknowledge that even if something is said in mania, it is still something you said, or in psychosis, and like if it did hurt someone, it did hurt someone. So maybe not in that moment, but later on, because like some of the things this comedian said were pretty fucked up. You know, and like and I know my friend Jen was, because like I was talking to her about the situation, and she's a mental health provider too. She's like, yes, it is really sad, but like some of these people, like they're not recognizing the consequences, and they're not trying to avoid it happening again. And so you can't just totally soft touch them. Like you have to also be like, hey, that's not good.
Yeah,
you could hurt yourself. You could hurt other people. You could make this space not great for everybody else.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's a way to have both conversations.
Yes.
Yeah, because I feel like what we've talked about is like you'll think a thing and be like in a certain headspace, and then you leave that headspace.
Yeah.
And so we're able to like hash it out or repair or whatever if something did go wrong. Because then you're back into like normal Zane or your baseline Zane. And I feel like that's not what's happened so far, is the person that we're talking about that's having a hard time is like just kind of like stuck.
I haven't seen what's been going on since. I just saw like the first couple days, and I kind of checked out.
It's shit. They're still there.
Okay.
I think.
And I mean, like, it's a preschool teaching term, but it's like while you're in it, that's not a teachable moment. right?
Yeah, exactly.
Like that's not the time to talk about it because you're not going to be able to receive it in the way that it needs to be received.
Mm-hmm. But like I think also because we had a situation when we were working together where somebody who was non-consensus reality based was saying harmful things, and like I think our first reaction was just like, well, they mumble to themselves all the time, like we don't have to hold them to that standard. But I think like not giving them the option to be held accountable to that same standard that we're holding everybody else, I think is like infantilizing them a little bit. So it's like, I'm giving you the same respect I would give anybody else by having the same conversation I would have with anybody else.
Okay.
You stepped on toes and this is how I need you to go going forward.
Yeah. Cause I mean, accountability it sounds so like carceral sometimes.
Yeah.
But I know that it doesn't have to be that way. It's more just being like, hey, that
accountability versus punishment.
Yes, exactly. But like sometimes I think people use accountability in that way, especially when they're hurt. Yeah. And so it's like accountability doesn't have to look like a punishment. It doesn't have to look like cutting someone off, but it can look like, hey, when you're in that state, I might not be able to be around you.
Yeah,
because that's too hard for me. Like, I love you, but that is hard.
Yeah, exactly.
And then also saying like, hey, when we were at that mic and you said that shit, a lot of people were not okay with it.
Yeah, exactly.
Healthy boundaries.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Telling other people what to do. That's a boundary, right? Just kidding. Yeah.
Thanks, Jonah. That has been the Smoke Break. I've been your host, your old pal Zane. It's been such a treat having you, Rochelle.
Yeah, thanks, Rochelle.
I've had a lovely time. I hope you have me back, and I didn't ruin my welcome or anything.
Nope. We'll have you back.
All right, hell yeah.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us. I've been Zane. This has been Zoe Schwartz. This has been Jasmine Nothing.
See ya.
And go follow Rochelle Cote. We'll see you next time.
I'm all right.
Later, players.